All right, everyone, this is Josh Rubin. Today I want to talk about 3 reasons why you should not take iron. But before we jump into this big topic, as always, please like this video, show us a little support. Hit that subscription button and notification button so every single Wednesday when we put out a video, you get notified. Let's jump in. Now, of course, this topic is bigger than this video. We have many videos, tons of Instagram posts, and you can do a little bit of dirty work and jump online. If you have something nasty to say, please don't say it at all, right? I'm here to have constructive conversations, right? And we don't just promote information. We do the work. We've been doing this for 22 years. So we know physiologically what really works and what does not work. This is not medical advice. I'm not telling you to really not take iron, and I'm not telling you to go off your iron. If you really feel like you need it in your heart of hearts and it works for you, so be it. To each their own. My job is just to give people a different school of thought, right? Because if the medical model worked to cure anemia, you wouldn't have to continually take iron and we wouldn't have anemia. But the problem is we do have anemia still, right? And we still have people taking iron, which we're sacrificing short-term health. We're sacrificing long-term health for short-term gain. Iron is a heavy metal. You have to understand that. And the body has no way of getting iron out of the body unless you bleed. And if you're a guy, that's a huge problem. And in this day and age with women having so many cycle and fertility issues, this is even more of a problem because now we can't get rid of the iron and our body only needs 24 milligrams a day from our food. We have a reticular endothelial system, the RES, that recycles this every single day. It's a recycling system. So we don't need these huge influxes. But if we do end up with this anemia diagnosis, we have to look at it and say why, right? We've done this video before. We've talked about how you recycle through, iron through the hepatocytes and enterocytes, the list goes on, through the cells into the blood. The blood is the highway, right? So you need copper to activate facet and ferrochelatase and ferrochelatase to get iron through the cell and convert it from ferrous to ferric iron and out the back door into the blood, which is the highway. If you don't have copper, now there's many reasons why people don't have copper, right? There's chronic stress, there's certain supplements, certain medications that deplete copper metabolism. It's not just eat copper-rich foods and you're gonna have copper. It doesn't work like that. So if you don't have copper, you can't activate the enzymes, you can't recycle your iron. So it starts to build up in the tissues, especially the liver. This is when you start seeing melasma, fatty liver, iron overload. But the kicker is, it's just not being recycled, right? It's there, it doesn't have the keys to open the doors to get it out the back door into the blood. So the recommendation is always take iron. The problem is the system is dysfunctional. Now we're chasing the effect. Now we're chasing our tail. This can have severe consequences down the line because you have a system. The question is, how are you going to change how you live? How are you going to change what you're eating, when you're eating to meet your needs so you can support copper metabolism and build those iron stores back up, which does not happen overnight. It can take time. It took me 3.5 years to regulate this. How? Using the full Monty panel through Request a Test, which is online. I'll put that link in the description, which looks at all your iron recycling values, your typical iron values, but it also looks at retinol, copper, ceruloplasmin, all these different things that show you, are you recycling iron or not? And is iron really the problem, right? So I'm not here to say everyone has iron overload, but I'm here to say a lot of people have iron recycling issues. A lot of people do. And it's not as simple as just eating liver or taking copper like everyone promotes it to be, and then they bash the whole subject because they don't understand the depth of what's really going on. The first is to figure out why you're having iron recycling issue. And the second is to have patience and trust the body and realize that you'll get there because I've gone through it. Like I said, it took me 3.5 years to regulate this or the lab, not through taking iron, through supporting my system, de-stressing the system, eating certain foods, to get my body back online to support the system itself, right? So it's a big topic, as you can see. But when it comes to taking iron, it's a heavy metal, and we just don't recommend it 99% of the time, right? And here's why. Number one, iron depletes copper. Copper is super important. Without copper, we can't recycle iron. We can't activate DAO and regulate histamine. We can't produce copper-rich antioxidants. We can't stimulate TRH and support the thyroid. I mean, the list goes on. It's a very important mineral in the system, and they work inversely, right? Copper is like putting energy in the bank, putting money in the bank. You're producing antioxidants. You're in a metabolic state. When this happens and iron goes above copper, now we're in a pro-oxidative state. Now we're in an inflammatory state. Now we're in a calcification state, right? We have a forest fire, we're burning money and we're not saving it and we're going into debt, right? Now, a lot of people say, well, my hemoglobin's low. Number one, that's not the only marker when you look at iron recycling. There's so many different markers. You don't just take your car in and get your tire pressure and they say, well, you need to put gas in your car. It doesn't make any sense. You need to assess the whole car to see what's going on, right? To see if you need gas or you need a spark plug, whatever it is. You don't just look at one value. But the whole process to regulate heme, let's just say, comes from the adrenal glands, stimulation of erythropoietin, which is copper dependent through ceruloplasmin, which stimulates the bone marrow to produce red blood cells, which is completely directed by bioavailable copper, ceruloplasmin, which causes your body to produce heme. So the whole process to produce heme is copper driven. So if your hemoglobin's low, if you just want to look at that one level, it's showing you that your copper metabolism is off, not your iron metabolism. You need to build up your minerals to support the natural processes in our body. So that's the first reason. Second reason is iron doesn't regulate iron. Copper regulates iron, as I mentioned. Right? It's almost like a FedEx facility at the holidays. All the boxes coming down the conveyor belt, you're loading the trucks are backing up, the packages are filling up the facility because we don't have a driver. The driver's copper to get the trucks onto the road, which is the blood, to get the iron to where it needs to go. So copper activates these different enzymes, facet and ferrochelatase, to recycle iron through the cell and get it into the blood. Iron doesn't regulate iron. We have a system to recycle the iron. We need the specific enzymes like copper to regulate this entire process, right? So iron doesn't regulate iron. And the third reason is iron depletes vitamin E, right? We have all these people pounding vitamin E, right? From synthetic sources, number one. But what if we eliminated things that cause the inflammation instead of taking something to reduce the inflammation? Simple, iron. Now, I'm not saying go off your iron supplement because you might fall apart, but just think about it differently. Because what we're trying to do, essentially, if you have anemia, there's increased oxidative stress in the system, which causes your body to affect copper metabolism. Now we can't recycle, so that's oxidative stress. Anytime you have low copper in the system, right, it's an inverse relationship with cholesterol, it's an inverse relationship with antioxidants, an inverse relationship with everything that's pro-metabolic in our system, right? And anytime iron goes up, we're in this pro-oxidative state. But that's what we're trying to reduce. We're trying to reduce pro-oxidation. We're trying to reduce oxidative stress because stress externally is oxidative stress internally. And if we don't take care of that oxidative stress, it turns into inflammation and then calcification. So the very thing that your body utilizes to help you as an antioxidant, right, against oxidation is the very thing that you're depleting. It doesn't make any sense, right? So number one, iron depletes copper. Two, it depletes vitamin E. And three, iron doesn't regulate iron. Now, of course, consult with your doctor. Like I said, I'm not saying go off your iron. I am here to help you think differently. I'm here to say, you know what? Interesting. I have been on iron for 10 years. And my labs regulate, but the second I go off my iron, and this is the school of thought, this is the medical model, right? Your levels are low. Number one, they're not looking at everything, but your levels are low, so take iron and you're fixed. It doesn't work like that. Because go off the iron, and within 3 months tops, you will see the results of what that iron has not done for you, because your levels will be low again. Same thing if you get an iron infusion, right? Within a month, your levels are going to be back down. That is information to you to show you, number one, the damage that's going to do, to show you that iron doesn't regulate iron. Because if it did, you wouldn't need to continue to get these infusions. You wouldn't need to continue to take the iron supplementation or do the labs because your levels would be regulated. So let's think outside the box. Let's try to do things differently. And let's begin to trust the body again. Because if we do, the possibilities are endless. It's not easy. The road to get there isn't easy, but if you put in the work, you will get the results you're looking for. Thank you for tuning in. As always, I'm out.